I was on Ring of Honor, and then I did the AEW shot or the 2 shows there, and then I showed up back on like a AEW or a Ring of Honor show, and then people are always like, "Oh yeah, well he signed here," and I was like, "That's cool, but that's not really what happened." But yeah, okay, if you want to think that, totally fine.
You see that right there? Let's get that in focus. That is my wallet right there. The Ridge wallet has completely changed my pocket situation, sliding oh so comfortably now into my front pocket. I know it's changed your pocket situation too. I know a lot of you now have Ridge wallets. I've seen the comments, I've seen the DMs that you've sent me. There's room for up to 12 cards plus cash. I've actually got a little bit of cash in there today. But don't take my word for it. They've got over 30,000 5-star reviews. I've got the cobalt blue color. This is the cobalt blue in titanium, but there's over 30 different colors and styles to choose from. They all come with a lifetime warranty. They all come with free worldwide shipping, and they all come with free returns. So change your pocket situation. Save 10% on your brand new Ridge wallet by going to ridge.com/CVV and enter the promo code CVV10. It's that easy. Now let's get to it. My chat with Jeff Cobb.
Well, let's say aloha to Jeff Cobb. Thank you so much for being part of this.
My pleasure. Sneak it in there.
We can start and end the interview with aloha. I love it. It's saying hello and goodbye.
Yeah. It's, hey, we're laid back, so whatever.
Look, Hawaii is my favorite place on earth to visit.
Yeah, again, mine too.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. That makes sense. You've obviously got a lot more history there than me. Have you been back recently?
End of August. I was there for about close to a week. So
you're talking about last year.
Oh yeah, 2019. Sorry. Yeah, I haven't been back this year because of this craziness that's going on. So yeah, trying to do my little part and not spread stuff everywhere I go. So.
Well, I'm sure people appreciate that. How has the craziness of what's going on affected you in the wrestling world?
A lot more free time. So I got to do a lot more messing around at my house. Finally finished the office that took me a year and a half to work on because I was home for like 2 or 3 days and gone and all that. So yeah, I got a lot of random stuff done around the house, which has been great. So I'm enjoying that part.
But, wrestling is beginning, especially with New Japan. You're back in the ring. I guess it's next week. Yeah, it's next week for the New Japan Cup USA. How pumped are you for that?
Super excited. Well, I was in there, was it last night, or I don't even know what day it is right now. It's been too many. When you don't have to travel as often, like you forget the days and you kind of just let it go by. I think 2 nights ago, actually, I was in the ring with Tongaloa. It was fun. And now next week Friday, I get to fight Kenta. This is going to be great.
I like that it's a fight with Kenta.
Oh yeah, it's definitely, it's a fight with anybody. So Kenta's going to kick me. I'm going to suplex him. We'll see which whose body breaks down first.
I don't know. I would be betting on you with the suplexes.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. With more free time on your hands, have you used this free time to watch more wrestling?
Not as much as I'd like to. I've been doing a lot, like just more workouts. Again, doing more house projects that I've been putting on the side. I have some random DVDs, like All Japan from the 90s and a couple other fun little things to reflect on. So I don't watch it as much as like it's not on my TV 24/7. So, but there were times I'll get in a weird mood and just binge watch some random stuff.
I saw you commenting on Raw Underground the other day, and you were basically saying, there's some good in this because it's been getting a lot of negative reviews from people.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's weird because people are, they're tired of this, so they want something new, and then they give them something new, and they're not satisfied with that. I'm like, and I'm not defending or anything, but I'm just saying like it's because I've never had to do it. It's got to be tough writing for 3 hours of, I guess, live TV or whatever it is, and then like there's just so much pressure. Like I get a lot of pressure just trying to make sure I catch my flight to the next show, and these guys have to sit in a room, and then I mean, I don't know if the stories are true, but like they write something and it gets changed, and they write something gets changed, and all that. So I don't look at professional wrestling as too harsh, or I'm not a big critic as some people are, because I mean this is a business I love, so I don't want to critique it too much.
Yeah.
I only know I can focus on my stuff, and the style of wrestling that I like. That's how I try to portray it in my style and whatever show I'm doing or whatever match I'm doing. And yeah, I try not to focus too much on I just try to focus on myself and what I'm trying to portray. So.
Well, look, I think there's positive and negatives to everything. And I think that unfortunately in the wrestling world, people want to just focus on the negative stuff when there might be some other positive stuff that is happening in the world of wrestling too.
Yeah. I like that take. Yeah, that's true though. It's like, I mean, if you go eat at a restaurant and have a horrible experience, you're more likely to tell people about your horrible experience as opposed to, oh man, it was great. So
yeah,
I take everything in stride.
And I like that too. Yeah, you're so right. If you go on Yelp and you see negative reviews, you're like, well, I get it. Like the person who had a bad experience there probably left a negative review. The person that had a mediocre, an okay, and even a good experience, they'll just go, yeah, it was fine, and probably not take the time.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So. You know, being from Hawaii, being an islander, I feel like so many islanders in the wrestling world are related. Do you have any sort of relation to anybody, even if it's a distant relative?
No, unfortunately.
You might be the only one.
Yeah, I think I might be the only one. I know that a lot of the Samoans and Tongans are more related as opposed to the Filipinos. So yeah, I don't think I have any relatives that are wrestlers. I mean, I just did I did like about maybe a year and a half ago that 23andMe, and no pro wrestlers popped up on my extended family. So. Never,
well, the Rock was, I think Rock was in Honolulu as well. So, you know, I'm just thinking
could be
some tie in there.
I don't know. You know, I'm just going to go, yeah, we're related.
Yeah.
So yeah, Rock, if you're listening, if you want to loan me a couple bucks, that's cool too.
Cobb might be the least Hawaiian name possible. And there's not enough vowels in there.
Maybe, yeah. We just got to throw in a couple more things and we'll be all right.
Yeah, if you threw a couple of vowels, then it would definitely be. It's not a Hawaiian last name. I think that people need to, realize that your background it's a mix of a whole bunch of different things, right?
Just like my mom is full Filipino. My dad's side is Japanese and Irish. So, yeah. And then the 23andMe broke down. It's pretty much that era. So like European and Pacific Islander-ish. So yeah, nothing popped out. I was like, oh my gosh, that's yeah. Although I'm 0.1%, I think Ethiopian. So
0.1, okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go try to buy some land over there and see.
What are some Hawaiian words that us mainlanders completely butcher and say incorrectly?
Probably. Well, I mean, earlier we kind of talked about that, like the UFC. Well, maybe I think 2 weeks ago, and you correctly, it was Bruce Buffer that does the announcing. So
yeah,
I was cooking dinner, or I was prepping dinner, and then he announced this. He butchered the word so bad. I mean, I get it. Like if you look at the certain thing, if you look at a word on paper, you're gonna pronounce it how you think it's pronounced. But I would assume someone like that would be like, "Hey, man, how do you pronounce where you're from?" kind of thing. And it shocked me. I stopped what I was doing. I looked up, and I was dying laughing, almost tears. I don't know if it was tears of joy or tears of sadness, but yeah, it was just a funny thing. And but yeah, like that. I've heard people mess up like mahalo. So I've heard a few people say mahalo throughout my life. It does look like ma and halo, I guess, but yeah, it's okay.
Every time I've been to Hawaii, I feel like I'm saying it incorrectly because everyone there is Hawaii.
Well, so I don't know. Like I watch a lot of TV sometimes, like more or like South Park and that kind of stuff. There's a great episode on South Park where Butters went to Hawaii to reclaim his birthright. And if you can watch that episode, it's exactly how it's portrayed there with mainlanders coming over and all. It's so funny, man. It's the perfect representation of what's going on.
Okay, so should I be saying Hawaii or Hawaii?
You know what? As long as you're saying it, that's all that matters, I think.
Okay.
On that episode, people are like Hawaii,
That's, yes.
which is true. The W's are V's sometimes, but it depends. I like when if you're talking to me, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to Hawaii next week. So kind of.
All right.
Yeah.
So we'll just say Hawaii then. Growing up in Hawaii, was there a lot of access to wrestling? Was there a lot of exposure to you for wrestling?
Growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. WW, or I guess WWF at the time.
Yeah.
Used to come out like once or twice a year, all the time. Throughout the years, I think they only go like once a year or something now, more towards the fall. But I mean, yeah, when they would come to town, I would always go. I would always buy the wrestling figures, the wrestling magazines. There was something on, I think it was Global Wrestling was on, Global Wrestling Federation, I think it was called, was on ESPN at the time. And then I did see a little bit of NWA / WCW growing up, but not as much. I don't know if Hawaii is a WWF territory, but yeah, I did see a lot of WWF growing up.
And I find the story fascinating that you became an amateur wrestler thinking that amateur wrestling was actually WWF pro wrestling.
Yeah. I mean, I think every time I talk about it, I'm like, man, I sound like a dumb kid. But I mean, I didn't know. Like, I didn't know anything about amateur wrestling until I showed up that day. So I just assumed, I saw a flyer one day saying wrestling. I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I want to do. So lo and behold, show up, and it's definitely like, there's no ring or anything like that. And like, thank goodness I didn't bring like a robe or anything or a mask or. I would have been kicked out and said, "Don't come back," kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm sure I hope there's other people that have done that, not just me.
Well, and how old were you at this time?
I was a freshman in high school.
Okay, so that's when I joined my wrestling team too, and I got in there and realized that all of the moves you see on TV in WWE are not moves you can do in amateur wrestling at all. Oh
yeah, no. I don't know. I did see I guess, I mean, there's a few moves that I that can kind of translate back and forth, but definitely not in high school, you can't do all the slams. So maybe not that, but like
none of the holds either. Like you can't do a full Nelson.
Yeah, but you can do a half Nelson.
You can do a half Nelson. Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's kind of like a Taz mission-ish without the choke.
Yeah, ish. Yeah. You probably get a lot of comparisons to Taz.
I do. Just for the fact that we're both brown and we do a lot of suplexes. I've gotten that. I've got Samoa Joe, which is weird. I mean, I guess body structure size, we're about the same. We're both Islanders. I'm not Samoan, so I guess I'm like Hawaiian Jeff as opposed to Samoa Joe. So yeah. So those two, and then Kurt Angle sometimes.
Oh, those are all pretty great comparisons.
Oh, definitely, man. Like they're huge inspirations on my career. So.
Well, I know Kurt Angle was someone that was number one on your list of like dream matches, which I feel like is probably not going to happen now.
Yeah, but I mean, you could create a wrestler online in the 2K games and just play that and make sure I win, guys. Always me. So.
Well, I love the positivity here. Sure, we can't make this match happen in real life, but we'll just create the characters and make this thing happen.
Yeah, I mean, just physically, he gave his body to this business and the sport. So, I mean, I'm sure he was beat up before he started professional wrestling, and he always says he had a broken freaking neck, and that's true. So, I mean, he was broken down. I mean, amateur wrestling is probably the toughest sport out there. And I think the wear and tear on that and then the wear and tear on pro wrestling, it just beats you down, man. And I mean, shoot, if I could have wrestled him 10 years ago, man, it would have sucked because I wasn't that good back then. But he definitely could have. He would have made me look like $1 million. So.
What if we took 1996 Atlanta Kurt Angle versus 2004 Athens Jeff Cobb? What would happen then?
Kurt Angle
in an amateur match.
Yeah, he was really good, man. He was really good. And plus, I think he was wrestling. He wasn't wrestling. I don't think he was wrestling. I think he was wrestling heavyweight, and I don't think. Yeah. I was wrestling 184, so I don't think. Yeah, he would just mop the floor with me.
But you say that I can't picture you wrestling at 184.
Oh yeah, that was before I started lifting. I was just a wrestler at the time. I didn't really lift that much. I'm not exactly like 6'4", so I'm a little bit shorter. So yeah, I was a smaller guy. So I was a 184 wrestler, but I always had to cut because I was always hovering around like 200.
I can't believe you were that successful in amateur wrestling without lifting weights.
Yeah, I didn't really lift until like I started going to like my freshman year in college was like 2003. So I was like, man, this is all brand new to me. Like, so. Wow.
So after being in the Olympics in 2004, was there ever thought of doing it in 2008 as well?
I was doing all the qualifying tournaments up until then. But then one of the last qualifying tournaments also landed on one of the last qualifying tournaments for our college nationals. And at that time, like I was kind of like burnt out from amateur wrestling. Like I just wanted to finish my college career, and I was tired of the traveling, and this, like in that year I had to do a couple tournaments, and like one I had to fly all the way to New Zealand from Missouri. That was like a good 24-hour total flight, and I was like, man, my body just, yeah. And I just kind of didn't do it anymore. After I did 2 qualifying tournaments, and I had 1 more to do, and then I had a pretty good chance of going back. But I was just like, yeah, like, I mean, I guess my heart wasn't into it. And that's the worst thing you can do is like just doing tournaments just to do tournaments. Like I felt like it kind of like held some younger guys back because they couldn't beat me, but they were so into it. Like they wanted to do it. They had the passion for it at the time. And like for me, I kind of just fell out of that as my goal.
And then did the goal instantly start shifting to like, all right, now pro wrestling, that's going to be the focus now?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, that's always been my goal since I was a kid. Like I mean, my fiance, the first time we went to visit my mom in Guam, like she had all these old, like boxes of all my old stuff. And when I was younger, I used to have my own wrestling federation. And actually, if you give me 20 seconds, I can grab my notebook right there.
Please.
Okay.
Yes. This is going to be well worth it. Oh, I can't wait to see what we got here. Also, I appreciate that you're sitting on an exercise ball.
Oh yeah, it's good for your back.
Wow.
So, I mean, I never showed this to anybody, but then my fiance has been very good at making me to, like, you know, there's people out there just like me that were younger that had fake wrestling leagues or whatever, and she's like, you shouldn't be ashamed of that. And I was like, it's not that I'm ashamed, I'm embarrassed. So, but there's a difference. But yeah, so like I would have, I mean, I'm not going to do the pay-per-view names that I gave him, but like notebooks of shows that I put on.
Oh my gosh.
With certain guys, like, because I would have like WWF or WWE or WWF at the time, like action figures, like Ninja Turtle figures would be involved in my league and all that, and just random figures that I had, and they would just all wrestle. And then, you know, so doing that kind of stuff, like, because I was like, I've always wanted to be a wrestler, and it's, yeah, so I would always do that. That was like my end all be all goal.
How old were you when you made that?
I know I started like in elementary school, and then it kind of went through like middle school-ish. Not in high school. I was a cool kid in high school, but
This would still make you cool.
yeah. No, yeah. I mean, I don't remember when I stopped. I know I definitely stopped like when I started amateur wrestling because that just took up so much of my time. So I know it was probably for a good maybe, I don't know, 10-year run maybe.
Wow. Well, look, there's a lot of people that still make e-feds. E-feds are very popular, and this is like the precursor to an e-fed.
I guess action figures. I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. So I've had like maybe three or four notebooks filled with them, and then it just got too much where I had like a few, like maybe close to 100 figures. I was like, man, I can't. This is turning. And now I relate it to nowadays where I'm like, man, this is like a super indie fed card because there's like 16 matches on this. So
wow. Give me a few of the bookings here. Give me a couple of the matches.
Oh, all right. I'm gonna randomly open it.
Okay.
Hang on. Let's see. Well, it kind of translated to like at the time I was like maybe like 97 or something, but like I had Marty Jannetty against Buff Bagwell for the U.S. Championship.
Who won?
Buff Bagwell.
Okay.
And that's a good thing, especially nowadays after what he said a couple days ago. So yeah, Buff Bagwell goes up and.
The thing I love about this is you had a dream, you had a goal, and you were super specific with what you wanted to do. You chased after it, and look at you now.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like, if you have a dream, like go for it. Like, what's the worst that's gonna happen? You don't achieve it. My main thing was like I didn't want to be like, as a grandpa and be like, man, I'm telling my grandkids to chase their dreams, and that's not, if I didn't do it myself. And then at the same time, like I don't want to be like 50 or 60 or 70 and just be like, man, I should have done it when I could have. It's like I definitely can't do it when I'm 60, but so give it the old the old college try.
Well, yeah, and that in the phrase like shoot for the stars, and if you miss, you'll at least hit the moon. Like that's what really, yeah, that's what I feel like I'm hearing here.
Yeah, definitely. Like, 'cause I've always wanted to do it, and like I said, worst case scenario, I don't make it to where. Well, I mean, definitely. When I think back to what my goals were when I was like as a kid in middle school and high school, is definitely different than what I have now. But at the same time, there are goals and there's stuff that you can shoot for, and that's what you're aiming for. So I mean, yeah, I'm happy with my decisions.
Well, you should be. Things are going pretty well in your career. When you first started getting into pro wrestling, what did you have to unlearn from amateur wrestling?
Well, like I guess like in amateur wrestling, you don't show that you're hurt or tired. And then starting pro wrestling, you definitely have to make that 180 switch. And I was like, oh, okay. That was definitely a weird thing for me. Like I definitely the physicality of it was fine. Cause I remember my first day of training, my trainer was like, hey, we're all going to do 500 squats. I was like, all right, cool. And we're just like this is like me right out of college wrestling too. So I was like, all right, cool. 499, 500. I mean, yeah, my legs were burning, but I was like, cool. And then what's next? And then, so, I mean, like that kind of stuff is the physical side of it was fine. The sports entertainment side definitely wasn't my forte.
I feel like also in pro wrestling, everything being done on the left side is a big adjustment for amateur wrestlers.
Oh yeah. So that's another thing too. Like I know amateur wrestling, you're not going for one side only. Like whatever's open, you're going to take it.
Yeah.
So that was definitely a weird transition too. It was like, stop. Like, I remember like some of my buddies were like, stop grabbing that, like go the other side. I was like, yeah, but that one's closer. So.
But look at you now, and things are going, pretty great in your career. And I know you've signed somewhere. When will we hear about where you've signed?
So my main thing was I wanted the company to announce it just because I'd rather have them do it, and I think it's a better platform for them to do it as opposed to me just jumping and be like, hey, look at I signed here. Like I'd rather them announce it, and then I could then I can go on my little social media thing and do all that kind of stuff. But unfortunately, it was supposed to be around March, but then this craziness happened.
Yeah.
So that kind of went on the back burner, which is totally fine. Like, I get it. But yeah, I still definitely hold true to that. Like, I would prefer the company to announce it before I say anything. And so that's why I've been kind of quiet, and people just assume stuff and all that. It was great. Like, I love it. Like, you know, when people just assume and tag me on Facebook or Twitter or something, I just kind of go with it. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah. Depending on where you look, you've signed with every company in the world.
Yeah. It was funny because I didn't realize that this happened, but I can't remember who said it. It may have been like Lance Archer or something, but he was like, yeah, you know, in the span of 3 weeks, you wrestled in Atlanta for 3 different major companies. Because we'd had a Ring of Honor, then the following week I did a New Japan show there, and then a week and a half later I was doing AEW. So
Yeah.
it was weird. It was weird, but you know, I was like, well, I know the Atlanta airport like the back of my hand now. So.
That is a giant airport. That's one of those airports where you have to take a train to get to your plane.
Yeah, that's pretty. That would be. I know I did an international flight once where I ended up in International Arrivals, which is, I think, Terminal E is at the very end,
Right.
and then connecting flight was in B, so I had to get on that train for like 5 or 6 stops. And it was huge, man. It's crazy.
So is this going to be an announcement, or are you just going to show up somewhere and then we'll all go, that's where Jeff Cobb is?
Well, so for a while I was having so much fun with it because like I was on Ring of Honor, and then I did the AEW shot or the 2 shows there, and then I showed up back on like a AEW or a Ring of Honor show, and then people are always like, oh yeah, well he signed here, but I was like, that's cool, but that's not really what happened. But yeah, okay, if you want to think that, totally fine. But now, especially with this going on, like I don't have that chance to play around with people anymore and just show up, and then people can be like, oh my gosh, she signed here now. But yeah, so I mean, especially with the limited amount of shows that are going on, or especially the bigger shows. So I mean, yeah, I'm just gonna wait for the company to announce it, and hopefully people forget that I haven't announced that I signed somewhere yet.
But you are signed to New Japan, and you do stuff exclusively in Japan for New Japan, right?
Yeah, only, like for Japan, I only do New Japan stuff.
Yes. Okay. So there's that's not a secret, everyone. He's not, that's not a secret.
Yeah. Or I mean, unless I guess because they have the partnership with Ring of Honor, when Ring of Honor goes there, then I'll do the Ring of Honor shows, and yeah. But yeah, in Japan, I'm exclusive to New Japan.
And
unless it's a pepper lunch eating contest, then I'm definitely gonna have to sever my ties with them and go there and do that, because man, I love pepper lunch. So.
Pepper lunch?
Yeah. So I can't remember their War Machine. What are their names now? I always forget. I was calling
the Viking Raiders.
Yeah. So I can't remember their name. They had so many name changes. I always call them what I have them in my phone as.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. So my first tour, they took me to this place called Pepper Lunch. It's pretty much like a fast food steak place, but has really quality steaks. It's like a cast iron hot plate, and they heat that sucker up, and whatever steak you decide to get, whether it's a ribeye or New York, they throw it on there, and whatever you want, like with it, like some vegetables or some rice, and they'll bring it out to you within 5 minutes, and the sucker's still cooking on the skillet when they bring it out to you. And it's just a quick place to get a good steak. And yeah, so when Viking Raiders took me there, we went, I don't even know how many times I've eaten there, like probably over 100 times.
Wow.
And so I ate there at during the G1 at least, because we're in Tokyo a lot, so I want to say at least 12 times.
Wow.
During the G1.
All right.
So that's a great place. They popped up actually in like New York and LA. So
well, I'm gonna have to, I just moved to LA, so I'm gonna have to go look for this.
Yeah, I forgot where it was though. Someone told me, it may have been Brody King, or somebody have told me that they ate there once. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I have to go out. Well, I don't know if they're open right now, but
that's true. Well, if they have outdoor, if it's takeout or outdoor dining, it should be fine.
Oh, then yeah, we're good then, right?
It's just crazy to think about things in those terms. Wow. Man, I was going to say next time I'm in Japan, I'll have to go there because I was planning to go. I was planning to go to the Superdome show, but we got to figure out if that's happening or how it's happening.
Yeah, I'm still keeping my fingers crossed because I know they just announced G1 for the normally scheduled time that it was supposed to be this year. They haven't told us yet if we are able to go, and to keep my fingers crossed because I mean that G1 last year was amazing.
Yeah.
My first G1 is, I mean, you never forget your first. It was great. So I definitely wanted to improve on it from last year, but and I get it with the current situation. I can't get mad at anybody or any company. It's just how the way it is.
Do you have to adapt your style when you're in Japan versus when you wrestle in America?
Yeah, there's definitely differences of styles. I know when the handful of indies that I do, there's definitely if you sit back and you actually look at it, there's an indie style. If you look at it, if you sit and watch a WWE show, there's a WWE style. Ring of Honor has their style. Japan has their style. Mexico has their style. Everybody has their different styles. And it's good to be adaptable, to be able to basically know who and what you're like. If you're in Japan, try to adapt it and learn how to wrestle New Japan style, because not necessarily New Japan style, but a Japanese style. Because I think there's been a few people that I've seen that are stuck in this mentality, and they come over and they do that, and the fans have no idea how to react to it because they're not used to seeing that. So yeah, it's definitely, I mean, just be adaptable, I guess. But yeah, there's a style in Japan it's so good, and I love it. I love that style over there.
What do you do more or less of when you're wrestling for New Japan?
Definitely a little bit more selling, and I've kind of translated it more. Some of the shows I do in America, or in the US or wherever I'm at, I try to do that style because I like that style. Like it's such a believable style, and and there's a reason for that. And I like that system. I like that setup. I like that style. So that's what I'm trying to gear how I am now towards that.
I think when people saw you in AEW, they assumed that was going to be home for you. Jeff Cobb is All Elite, and we saw you twice, and that was it. Was that the plan all along?
Well, Chris Jericho's a smart guy, and he's not going to keep paying me if he hired me to pretty much beat the crap out of Moxley, and he ended up beating me. So Jericho's a smart businessman. He's not going to keep paying me for something I didn't accomplish. So, but you never know if he feels the urge to hire another hired gun back. Price is always right for me. Jericho's a billionaire, man. I get, pay me. I'll be there.
Wow, I didn't realize Jericho's a billionaire now. Wow, amazing.
I mean, Fozzie's doing good, right? And
Fozzie's doing good.
Sure,
Jericho's doing good.
I'm sure he sold 5 million bottles of the bubbly, so he's got to make great residuals off of that.
So much of the bubbly. Jeez. He's a genius. He is an absolute genius when not just wrestling. I mean, he's great in wrestling, but he's a genius when it comes to business and marketing.
Yeah, I mean, because he's been in the wrestling business for a while, and he's, he wasn't just in the business to be in the business. He learned different aspects of what we're in professional wrestling, and he definitely honed his craft over the time, and he's reaping the benefits for it. The smart man.
Well, look, there's lots of people that have been in the business a long time that aren't doing the things that Jericho is doing. So the fact that you got to be hired by him, work under him for a little while, I mean, that's pretty special.
Yeah. Speaking of which, he hasn't sent me my W-2s yet, so I gotta file those.
Jeez, you might be getting into trouble with the IRS then.
Yeah, let's just edit that part out.
Yeah. Are things completely done with Lucha Underground?
For me, yes. I got my release after season 4. As far as, because I've heard weird rumblings, like someone I remember reading something and somebody tagged me in it saying like season 5 is coming or something. And I was like, I mean, I'm not going to tell anybody like hold your breath. Like basically, don't hold your breath for that. Like I don't know. I haven't heard any rumblings, but I mean, last I heard too, like our main writer was Chris Joseph, and I think he went to WWE.
Yeah.
So I don't know who they would use for that. And like majority of their guys are in WWE now, so I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think there's anyone even available.
Yeah, I mean, there was that partnership with AAA, so maybe, I mean, all the guys down there could be, yeah. But I don't know, like me personally, like that was a chapter in my book that's done. We're moving on to the next chapter. Right?
That was a pretty great chapter, though.
Yeah, I had a blast. I mean, there was a lot of hiccups and snafus and a lot of angry talent, but
towards the end, yeah.
But when we were there and filming and doing it, like everybody had a blast. So, I mean, yeah, I definitely look back on those days as really fun. Like it's good memories. Just the business side of it was a little weird, but what we made there was definitely magic.
Are there people that still have no idea that you are Matanza?
Yeah, I get that a lot. So to this day, like some random tweets are like, "Oh, that was you." I was like, "Oh God, here we go." And a lot of the like the meet and greets or whatever at the merch table or whatever, the people come up and then they bring me like, "Dude, I just found out this was you." I'm like, "Oh, well, 5 years too late, but whatever. Come on in, I'll sign whatever you want." But yeah, I get the weird ones. It's weird. It's like literally been close to 5 years now, and
yeah.
So
I was surprised to see that the original plan actually wasn't to make you Matanza. The original plan was Jeff Cobb was going to be in Lucha Underground.
Yeah, I was going to be like it's funny, we come like a little circle back to it, but like I remember they were saying, yeah, we want you like a Taz-like character. I was like, all right, cool. I was like, oh, well, that's not a stretch, but all right, let's do it. So,
yeah. So it was going to be Hernandez, right?
That's what I was told. Yeah. He would have been the Monster Matanza.
Wow.
But,
well, I think that no one plays it better than you.
Thank you.
Well, but when you go into that final season and you realize that your character is going to be killed off, which, doesn't happen in any other wrestling world other than Lucha Underground, how does that conversation happen?
Well, first you got to say spoiler alert because some people haven't seen
5 years too late, to quote you.
Well, that was in 2000. They aired that in 2018, I believe. So
sorry, spoiler alert, everyone.
It's okay, but yeah, I mean, well, because I know I was at a weird place with them, just for the fact that we weren't between season 3 and season 4. There was I think there was 20 something months of no work, but we were still stuck in this weird contract. So it was weird, and I was just really frustrated because, like, in pro wrestling, you can't do there's very few people that can do professional wrestling and be at a high level for 20 plus years.
Sure.
There's only a handful of them. Like a lot of people's windows are 5 to 10 years, give or take. And I was feeling like, I was hitting a good stride, and I was like, I can only do indies now because I'm stuck under this contract. Like, there's great companies out there that I was getting, people were just like, hey, you should come here. I was like, well, I can't because I'm stuck in this contract. So yeah, so that season 4 was a little bit weird because a lot of people were upset about being off for 20 plus months with no pay, but you can't go anywhere else, kind of thing.
Yeah. So
it was weird. But then they threw everything together and rushed season 4 out or to tape it. I think it was maybe 3 weeks worth of taping squished into that. So it was really hectic. And I mean, it's definitely again, I love seeing the people that I work with, but it didn't feel like a real Lucha Underground kind of, because it just felt rushed, and it felt like it was just all right, we'll throw the season together kind of thing. And yeah, that's kind of.
Did you know at the start of that season what was going to happen to your character?
No, they told me about maybe halfway through.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I heard stuff, but it wasn't confirmed until about maybe like a week or two after we started filming, which is totally fine. I get it. You know, like if I'm not going to be there, you know, I mean, but at the same time, they could always put somebody else under that costume, I guess. Or
Well, at the same time, it's Lucha Underground. You know, you might not really be gone.
You never know. You never know. In pro wrestling, you never say never.
Right, and in pro wrestling for sure. But then one layer on top of that is in the world of Lucha Underground, like, you know, did it really happen? Maybe you could come back as like some other version of yourself or something.
Yeah, I pitched a few ideas. It's just it didn't fit into their taping schedule, which I thought was going to be perfect for it, but it's okay. I'll probably try and film it for me just to be fun with it. But
did Indies ever try to book you as Matanza?
Like a handful of lucha companies. So,
okay.
Not necessarily. Like, I mean, I had maybe like a very like maybe from what I can remember, like maybe 2 or 3 companies saying, "Hey, can you use that?" But for the most part, it's always like lucha companies were hitting me up, and I was like, "Man, I'm too slow to do lucha." Well, that character is too slow to do lucha, so it's like, yeah, or to do like a traditional lucha match, especially like for TV, it's perfect, but for an indie or independent lucha show, I don't think it would have worked out as good.
When you were Matanza, I feel like you had to almost hold back what you were capable of. Like you weren't doing the full range of what Jeff Cobb could do.
Yeah, like I would more. I guess it kind of was like a Jason Voorhees kind of character, or Michael Myers.
Yeah.
And then like a shark attack, and then kind of go back to Jason or Michael again, and just relax, and then shark attack kind of thing. So it was definitely fun. It was different. So yeah.
So if that was the description of Matanza, what's the description of how Jeff Cobb wrestles now? Just lots of shark attacks?
Yes, a lot of shark attacks. Parentheses suplexes. So.
Lots. I feel like we should, Brock Lesnar has the suplex count. You should have a suplex count on your matches.
Yeah, but he only does one.
You're right. Yeah, he only does one type of suplex.
Yeah. But I mean, I get it. Like, that's a big dude to be doing the German suplex, man. So, and I'm not one to knock Brock Lesnar either, man. I mean, he, like, Hulk Hogan, after a while, only did a few moves. Brock Lesnar, all he needs to do is grab you and throw you and suplex you.
Well, he's a beast, Yeah, well, so are you.
Sure, thank you. I appreciate that.
Is there anyone that you feel like it would be difficult to suplex?
Oh, you know what? I don't know, because I've always, like, there was a stretch when I was right before I signed with Ring of Honor, or all these indie companies, I don't know if they were in cahoots, but they were booking me with big dudes and seeing if I could suplex. And I was like, man, like I can do other stuff besides suplex big dudes or carry big dudes. So, but yeah, like, I don't think there's been somebody that I haven't been able to suplex yet. So.
Well, the interesting thing about your style and your size is you're booked like a big man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, compared to some people nowadays, I am a big man, so. This
is true. Yeah, but you're booked like, especially in Lucha, but I guess everywhere you've worked, you're booked like you're 6'4" and 300 pounds.
Yeah, I'm not too far from 6'4", so.
6'3" and a half,
Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for all in purpose intents, I'm like 5'10"-ish. On a good day when I stretch. If I don't, I'm slouching a little. I'm like, I'm a little bit shorter. But yeah, like realistically, like 5'10"-ish and 255. Give or take. So
big dude.
Yeah, I'm not that small, guys. Jeez.
No, I never said it. Please don't hurt me. I'm glad that we're doing this virtually right now.
Or I just unplug my phone. I'm out of here.
No, you already had enough problems with the connection. I saw in another interview that you did that you said the WWE didn't want you. Was there ever conversations that you guys had?
Oh, sorry, I dropped something. I hope that wasn't taken out of context, but that was in 2014 when I did my tryout with them. That's when I meant that they didn't want me. But then, I mean, I get it. Like at the time they were doing, like if you looked at that roster back then, they had like one of everything almost. Like I don't know if they were trying to collect them or not. Like was that Shorty G or Chad Gable or Chaz Beth or his real name? Chad Gable was there, so they had an Olympian already. It was the finest. Kona Reeves was there, so they already had a Hawaiian guy. So they already they filled their quotas for what they needed in that. So I was like, all right, cool, I get it. I'm not mad at them. Like, definitely didn't go online and bash them because I was like, no, it's they didn't want you. Oh well, go do other stuff and then let them come after you again. So yeah, they did. I mean, but yeah, they were gonna send. Well, they asked me if I wanted to do. Was it Tough Enough? There was one that came back like in 2014 or 15 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do reality TV. Like I want to be a wrestler. That's what I am. I'm a professional wrestler.
But a lot of people might have seen that as their ticket to get that WWE contract.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not knocking anybody that's gone that route because there's been a bunch of people that have gone through and have made it, and good for them. But that, for me personally, that's just not me.
Yeah. Well, have you had any other conversations with WWE since? I mean, it was 6 years ago.
Yeah, actually, the beginning of this year. But yeah, I didn't feel it was my time to go there yet. Because there's like a couple things that I wanted to accomplish even before I thought about going there.
So what are some things that are still on the bucket list for you to do?
Well, definitely, just from from wrestling in New Japan a lot, like I definitely want to do more Tokyo Domes. I've only done one Tokyo Dome match, but we were on the pre-show, if you will. I mean, people still count it, but like selfishly, I want to be on the main card in a match out there. So that's definitely one of my goals. I like their never open weight division because I think they have some great wrestlers there. Like when I won the belt, and then where it went after that, where there was guys like myself, Goto, Taichi, Kenta ended up having it, and Ospreay had it, and now Shingo has it. Like, those kind of things. Like, all these guys can go. They're so, like, I love wrestling everybody that's mentioned because they're so good. But yeah, I definitely want to win that championship back. And then, I mean, again, selfishly, like, who doesn't want to go for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship? But I feel like this their U.S. Championship that they have. Like, I feel like I could help that division out a little bit. So, and be a champion that can defend it in America. So I definitely want to have a crack at that.
Is there anyone in New Japan that you haven't been able to have a match with that you really, really want to?
Like a singles match kind of thing?
Yeah.
Well, the G1 definitely gave me a lot of guys that, like, I got to wrestle Naito, which was really cool in itself. And then, but I haven't had a one-on-one match with guys like I've had tag matches against Tanahashi, but to have a singles match with him would be amazing. Like, 'cause he's the ace. He earned that nickname, the ace, guys like him, again, selfishly, I'd be dumb to not say guys like Okada, I beat Evil already. Now he's the heavyweight champion. So I wouldn't mind another rematch with that guy.
Yeah. If you beat him, makes sense.
Yeah. And also too, like I mentioned, Tanahashi, Kota Ibushi. Why wouldn't you want to have a match with someone like him, But yeah, for me personally, I'd love to wrestle people that I've never, anybody on that roster. And I got to give me like a minute to figure out who I haven't wrestled yet in a singles match. But yeah, I definitely would love those three at the top of my list.
Yeah, pretty much all those matches are dream matches, I would think.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Your style is so perfect for New Japan. When did, like, if we take this back, when did the conversations start happening with New Japan for you guys to click and make this happen?
Well, originally it was I want to say it was like PWG's Battle of Los Angeles. I think it was 2017. I know Tiger Hattori came by. There was actually a lot of people at that show in that small Reseda building. Like William Regal was there. Brian Kendrick showed up. I don't remember if that was the same time, but I know it was that year that Alberto Del Rio and Paige came by. Just randomly were backstage, just hanging out, which is weird. But yeah, I met Tiger Hattori there, and I started like just chit chatting with him, and then he was asking me about my Olympic background, and he's like, I mean, everybody's got a Tiger Hattori impersonation, but he was like sitting right behind me, and he's like, "Hey man, you wrestle Olympics, man?" I was like, "Yes, sir." and then we started talking from there. And then yeah, I ended up they told me I was coming over for the 2017 Tag League, and then the rest is history.
Yeah, and everything that you've accomplished since, you've wrestled pretty much everywhere since.
Yeah, I'm very happy.
I learned a fascinating fact about you while watching an interview with Alicia Toot, that you're a Backstreet Boys fan.
Yeah, so I remember because I was in high school when this whole boy band craze started coming out, where it was like Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, 98 Degrees, all these guys. And I was like, no, Backstreet Boys was the first, and they got the better songs. So I definitely put them as number one for the boy bands.
It is fascinating to know that Jeff Cobb listens to Backstreet Boys.
Yeah, at that, well, not at that time, but I want to say around college time, I had every Backstreet Boys CD.
Wow. Have you been to a Backstreet Boys concert?
I've never been. They were in Vegas. They did I don't know if it was a residency or a couple shows in Vegas, and I wasn't here. I was out of town. I think I was in Japan for that. I was so upset about that, but it's okay. It's okay. I don't know. I don't know if my fiance would like that if I dragged her to a Backstreet Boys concert, but
what? It's usually the other way around.
No, her favorite band is Tool. So.
Oh, Tool's fantastic.
Yeah,
you know who goes on stage and introduces Tool? Justin Roberts.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Justin Roberts, before he signed with AEW, was on tour with Tool, and he was like the person who would warm up the crowd and introduce Tool.
Hey, that's cool.
Isn't that insane?
Fun. Man, I should have been bugging him for some tickets or something.
You can still bug him for some tickets, I'm sure.
Well, I recently, okay, so I don't know, Tool. I don't know anybody in the band, facially. I can't be like, oh shit, that's so and so or whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't realize this until maybe his third or fourth, but I guess Adam Jones goes to PWG a lot, and I had no clue. There was a picture with me, and he was in the background just talking to somebody, and my fiance saw it, and I was like, holy, I don't know if I can curse on here, but I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, it's the internet.
Holy shit, who, did you know he goes to these shows? I was like, no, I honestly didn't, because I'm just an idiot. I don't know how people, I'm kind of stuck in my little bubble of what I do. So, but I know Tool. I think they're a phenomenal band. I just don't know how they, I've never met them, so I never met them, so I don't know. And then all of a sudden, he's following me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'm following his stuff, and I'm seeing all his cool things. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. So yeah, I definitely found a newfound respect for Adam Jones and I apologize. I was like, I'll definitely get you a front row ticket when PWG comes back. On me.
Well, it sounds like when quarantine, ends, you'll be dragging your fiance to a Backstreet Boys concert, and she'll be dragging you to a Tool concert.
Totally fine.
Yeah. So what's the go-to Backstreet Boys song?
Well, everybody always goes with the stuff that they've heard on MTV, but there's one song that didn't make it as big as I Want It That Way or whatever, but it was called The One. And that
of
one,
course. I'll be the one.
there you go. Like not many people know it.
Sorry, everyone.
But it's such a good song. I think it's a catchy song. There was one I remember. I think Nick Carter sang it. I think it was a solo song. It's called "I Need You Tonight." That's a great love song, man.
I do not know that one, but I remember a song when I was younger, when I heard Perfect Fan for the first time, that really got to me.
Is that about the moms?
Yes.
Mom? Yeah.
Mom, you always were the perfect fan. I think it was Brian. Geez, we're getting deep into the weeds here with Backstreet Boys.
I think your viewership just clicked on zero.
Or our viewership just went through the roof. Oh my God. Chris and Jeff Cobb like Backstreet Boys?
Heck yeah. They're good, man. They're good.
I Want It That Way was like my go-to karaoke song. Number one, just because everybody knows it. But number two, it's like, if you're not good at it, you can like go off the stage and be like, yeah, it's the Backstreet Boys. Like, come on. Like, it can kind of be a bit of a joke.
Well, I kind of feel like you can do those songs so because I'm Filipino, we definitely love Journey because the new lead singer for Journey is Filipino. Arnie Pineda, shout out, please, contact me. Let's do some business. But no, yeah, like I feel like Journey is one of those songs or one of those bands that you go to karaoke and like Don't Stop Believing.
Oh,
you definitely like everybody will start like if you choose that song, everybody's gonna start singing along with you. So like I definitely feel like Journey's like that, but there's a handful of people that can get that high in the tone and the pitches and the everything. Like, yeah, those are two. Yeah, so I've tried it before, and I was like, God, I suck. So, but then I do the same thing like you do. I'm like, well, it's Journey. Who can get that high?
Also, I don't know if anyone expects you to be good when you're singing karaoke.
Oh yeah, no. I've seen guys like I'm gonna give him a shout out. Rocky Romero can sing. So, I mean, all like his Roppongi 3K and all these entrance music are him singing. So.
Oh, I didn't know that. What?
Yeah, that's it, man. He's talented, man. He's a good, talented dude.
Oh, that guy's talented in everything he does.
Oh, definitely.
Are you just saying this because he's like kind of your boss too?
No. Don't forget to book me on the next shows. But no, yeah, no, not at all. No, I dig. Like I remember the first time he debuted the Roppongi 3K song with Show and Yo, and then I was like, oh, this is a cool beat, and then like they started singing. I was like, and then when he came back, I was like, dude, Rock, was that you? And he's like, yeah, man. I was like, dude, that was good, man. So yeah, he's talented, man.
Speaking of New Japan, I love that there's the New Japan Cup USA because it's introducing a lot of American fans to New Japan who, I think a lot of American fans are still, they've seen little bits and pieces here and there, but now they can go on the New Japan app and watch full shows.
Yeah, I think it's cool because it's definitely giving more eyes, especially in this period where a lot of people are stuck at home and have nothing to do, so they're watching a lot more, whether it be streaming devices and whatnot, and they're getting to see stuff that are like, because I know like you can go on YouTube but you can't really see the newer items, but then now that you're seeing some of the new stuff, and then you're like, oh, because everybody, I'm thinking people like in, I don't know, like North Carolina or something, they're used to seeing a certain style of wrestling, and then they're like,
sure,
okay, well that's just Japanese wrestling, but then they see American stars that they've seen in North Carolina wrestling that are doing New Japan stuff, and they're like, oh, wait a minute, okay, and then so I feel like it's getting good eyes on New Japan and the New Japan style and whatnot, and it's great. Like I think it's definitely what we needed now, I think.
Yeah, New Japan Strong has introduced an entirely new audience to seeing what you guys do.
Yeah, and it's great. Like, and I'm enjoying being in front of a new audience as well. Like, because I know the people in Japan are definitely tuning in. So now that people in America are getting a chance to see more of it, I think it's great.
Well, this is an interview I want to do for a long time. So thank you for making this happen.
Oh yeah, thank you, no problem.
No, we had some technical difficulties along the way, but nobody needs to see that or know about that. But thank you for being here for this. Congrats to you on everything. And I'm super excited to see when this announcement does get made. I will pre-congratulate you on, on this signing. And I guess we'll find out where it is soon.
Well, thank you. Well, I mean, I think I did it once as a joke. And then I realized, like, man, I sound like every other guy that gets signed somewhere where they're like, oh, it's time for a new goal. Like, what kind of goal should it be? Should it be elite or should it be for entertainment? But I'm definitely going to do it with honor and make an impact somewhere. I'm like, what am I doing? As I put that tweet out. I was so hyped up with that I hit my phone. But yeah, so I made that tweet and I instantly regretted making that tweet. And I could, but yeah, I'm not going to do that anymore. When it happens, the company will announce it. Then I'll make some cool stuff about it. But
or we'll just see you. We'll just see you show up somewhere.
Yeah, I'll be there.
And then the announcement can be made.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Again, Jeff Cobb, thank you so much.
My pleasure, man. Thank you again. Thank you for having me on, man. This is awesome. Yeah, I'm glad it finally worked out and we're able to do stuff, man.
And we'll end this the same way we began. Aloha.
Aloha.
Been a while since I've been backwards hat guy, but just so inspired by Jeff Cobb during that interview. What a great chat with him. And for as intense as he is in the ring, for as much of a monster that he is in the ring, he's such a laid back, cool, chill guy in real life. So I hope you enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. And I'm very curious where we see him land. He says he signed a contract somewhere, but he can't announce it yet, or he's waiting for them to announce it. I have an idea of where I think it is. I just don't want to say it because I don't want to be wrong. But at the same time, I don't want to say it because I don't want to be right. And I don't want people to think that Jeff Cobb told me, which he did not tell me. So I have no idea. But drop a comment below. Let me know where you think that we will see Jeff Cobb land here in the US. Until then, though, just check out New Japan Wrestling because, man, he is tearing it up there. Also, in the meantime, make sure to subscribe. There it is right there. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on more great conversations like this one right here with two backwards hat guys.